Whether you're new to boxing betting or you just need a refresher, I've got you covered with the basics and some key tips that will hopefully set you up for success on fight night. There are 3 main outcomes in boxing: win, lose, or draw. And these outcomes go hand in hand with the type of bets you'll come across. The most common type of bet is an outright bet, which is where you're going to be betting on who is going to win the fight. This will either be the favourites or the underdog. If you don't know boxing well enough to know who's who, the favourite fighter has lower odds and is expected to win, and the underdog has higher odds, which means you'll get a bigger payout if they win. They're seen as less likely to come out on top, but that doesn't mean that upsets don't happen. Then we have the bets that predict which round the fight will end in. If you think one fighter is going to TKO or knock out their opponent early, you can put a wager down on that, but make sure you've researched both fighters' styles and their knockout ratios. You can also place a wager on whether you think the fight will go over or under a certain amount of rounds. This means that you're betting on the fight lasting more or less than that number of rounds. For example, you might bet that the fight will last less than 9 rounds. If it finishes in the 9th round or earlier, you win. But if it continues into round 10 or beyond, you lose. So what if you think the fights will go the distance? Well, this is pretty hard to predict, and you'll need to know a decent amount about the boxers, including form, technique, and past experience of fighting at this level. If it's a boxer's first time in championship rounds, you might see them start to fade towards the 10th, or they might have an engine like WBA World Featherweight Champion Nick Ball. You can also bet on the method of victory, whether you think the fight will end in a knockout, a technical knockout, or will it be a split or unanimous decision from the judges. Okay, so now you know about the types of bets, let's talk about strategies. Successful boxing betting strategies aren't just about luck. It's about understanding the fight and the fighters. Take a look at a fighter's style. Is one boxer a heavy puncher, while the other has a bulletproof defense? Look at how the 2 styles match up, because an aggressive fighter might win by knockout, whereas a technical fighter can drag it to a decision. It's always a good idea to look at both boxers' previous fights and how they handled opponents with similar styles. Also, look out for if a boxer is fighting at their natural weight, or have they had to move weight classes. Moving up or down in weight can have a huge impact. If a fighter goes up from middleweight to light heavyweight, they might lose speed but gain power. And the same applies for when a boxer goes down a weight class. They can become quicker but hold less power. Another factor that will play into your betting strategy is, has the boxer had a full training camp? Some fighters stay ready all the time, waiting for an opportunity to strike. For example, Josh Kelly had a full camp to fight Liam Smith, and on the week of the fight, Liam Smith pulled out with an illness. Ishmael Davis stepped up to the task with less than a week's notice. You could say for both fighters, changing your fight plan on fight week isn't ideal. However, Kelly's had a full training camp to fight a very experienced fighter in Smith. Ishmael Davis, however, even though he was still training hard, he wasn't preparing for Kelly. So you could say that the tables are tilted towards Kelly in this example, as he's had more time to prepare for a high-class opponent. Injuries or bad camps can have a huge effect on a boxer's performance come fight night, and this could be anything from personal issues to being ill for a few weeks. One recent example of this would be Sandy Ryan's fight against Michaela Mayer, where hours before she was due to fight, she had red paint thrown all over her outside her hotel. From the images she uploaded to social media, you could see the paint had penetrated through her clothes and gone onto her skin. For almost anyone, this ordeal would be enough to shake you up, but to have this happen hours before a world title fight, the psychological aspects could have had a massive impact on the result. And lastly, boxing is known for its home crowd advantage, and unfamiliar territory can play into how a fighter performs. Generally in boxing, if a boxer is going to their opponent's hometown, they know that they can't leave the decision in the hands of the judges, and it has to be a very clear win. Remember, with boxing, it's crucial to have some basic knowledge around the fighters. Watching pre-fight analysis on fight week is also really worthwhile. It will give you more of an insight into fighters' styles, statistics, and help you be more informed. It's easy to get caught up in pre-fight promotions with big names, so try not to bet based on your emotions or how you feel about a boxer, and stick to the hard facts. And that's it! You're now ready to bet smart and enjoy the next big fight night.